Welcome to the Retiring Canada podcast, where our mission is to educate and empower you to make the most informed, rational, and productive financial decisions. Hosted by certified financial planner, author, and chartered investment manager Michael Isbister. You'll go behind the scenes to uncover the tips and strategies to help you invest smarter, optimize your retirement income, and reduce the amount of tax you pay. Michael is an investment advisor with Fundamental Wealth, a trade name of Harbourfront Wealth Management, a CERO dealer. And now, here's your host, Michael Isbister.
Hello everyone, and welcome again to the Retiring Canada podcast. In today's episode, we're going to discuss scams you need to be aware of before and during retirement. Specifically, I'm going to chat about my own experience being targeted by scammers, a quick tip to help cut down on phone calls and texts, 3 common scams and fraud schemes we come across, 1 commonality across all scams and frauds that you can help to spot a fraud, the importance of having a trusted contact person, and lastly, as always, a few action items for you to consider. Now, over the last few months, I have been exposed to a multitude of scam attempts. Some direct attempts against me, a handful of stories I've heard from clients, and a shifty attempt on my parents as well. Unfortunately, fraud and scams are a part of our day-to-day lives. So for most people, they already have their guard up on a regular basis and choose to be more skeptical, which really is unfortunate. It makes me sick to my stomach that there are individuals and groups out there that rest their heads on their pillow each night and can actually sleep, knowing full well they're ruining people's lives. It actually really does make me upset, and you know what? One day they will have to answer for what they've done. Anyway, in our wealth management practice, we actively teach our clients about scams to watch out for and ways they can safeguard their identity and money from nefarious people. Personally, I receive upwards of 15 calls and texts a day from scammers. And this was up until a few weeks ago when it started to tail off, and I'll tell you why. With the nature of my business, it's likely the reason for this kind of thing. And in my case, when my cell phone rings, I answer it. Which, for those of you who don't know, answering these calls may be a pure phishing attempt to find active phone numbers, which once you answer, you're then put on a list, and then that list is sold to scammers around the world. So a quick tip for you, if you receive a large volume of texts or calls from oddball numbers or countries, have a look through your phone settings for a scam call filter. This will help cut down on the number of calls you get. Since I started utilizing this setting, my calls dropped down to about 5 a day. So still annoying, but better than the 15 plus I was receiving just a few weeks ago. So today I want to cover off a few scams and fraud schemes to be aware of. As I go through this list, think about what the common theme is across all of these. As once you know the key these scammers use, it's a bit easier to protect yourself. Now, the examples I'm going to talk about are, common phone call scams, but can very easily be modified and attempted via email or even text. The first are investment scams, commonly found on Facebook and other social media platforms. I've heard of a number of people who have got involved in these kinds of frauds, one of whom lost a large chunk of money. Now, fraudulent investment schemes are nothing new. They have been around for centuries, yet people still get sucked into promises. That said, with most people now spending more and more time on their phone or tablet looking at social media, these kinds of fraudsters can now reach more and more unsuspecting individuals. So let me walk you through one of these scams. You open your Facebook and start scrolling. You come across a sponsored post that uses words like arbitrage, crypto, monthly income, foreign exchange trading, or outright displays a high rate of return directly on the post. You click on the post, and at first glance, it looks legit. You are taken to a slick-looking website that uses fancy words and quotes famous investors like Warren Buffett, all to give the appearance of credibility. You click the link to learn more or enter in your contact information because, hey, sounds pretty sweet. The next day, Jennifer calls you from XYZ Arbitrage and starts to discuss an investment offer. She sounds pretty smart and she has a kind voice. She tells you that if you transfer just $1,000 to their group, you will start to see daily returns of around $100. You do the math in your head. Seems like it's not a lot of risk, and it's only $1,000. Okay, let's try it. 7 days later, Jennifer calls you again. She asks, so what do you think? You made $700 in just 7 days. You know, if you bring us another $5,000, we can increase your daily earnings to $200 a day. You think about it. Well, I'll break even in a few weeks. Sure, let's do it, Jennifer. The next day, you look at your account, and sure enough, another $200. And the next day, another $200. Wow, you think. They really are delivering on their promise. A few days later, the phone rings. It's Jennifer again. She's got an opportunity that she's only offering to a handful of investors. If you can bring her $50,000 or even $100,000 in the next 3 days, she can get you a return of $1,500 a day. But she only has a few spots available. You think to yourself, okay, well, she delivered on the other amounts as promised, and it seems legit, and I really don't want to miss out on this opportunity. The next day, you wire $100,000 to XYZ Arbitrage, and get ready to see the money start rolling in. Day 1 goes by, no $1,500. Day 2 goes by, still no money. You call the number Jennifer called you from, and it's disconnected. Your heart sinks. What I just described is a real-life path these fraudsters will walk you through. They build trust with their website and phone calls. They deliver on the promise of investment returns not once, but twice, and then they create urgency and go for the big ask. Another common scam is the Canada Revenue Agency impersonator, which is especially prevalent in April, May, and June after Canadians have filed their personal tax returns. Let's walk you through what this experience would look like. You get a phone call from a number you don't recognize, so you don't answer it, and it goes to voicemail. A few moments later, you hear your phone send a notification. You have a new voicemail. Curious, you check it. Hi, it's Paul from the Canada Revenue Agency. I'm calling you for an urgent matter. You have a large outstanding debt that must be paid immediately. If you don't, we'll have no choice but to involve the RCMP. Call us back immediately. Otherwise, we will escalate this situation and the RCMP will come to your house and arrest you. Panicked, you call the number back immediately. The person who answers the phone explains that you have an overdue balance that needs to be dealt with immediately or else you'll go to jail. You feel sick to your stomach and want to comply. You aren't the kind of person who doesn't pay their debts. The person on the other line either sends you routing instructions for a wire transfer or gives you the instructions to make a payment utilizing a gift card as the quickest option. You do what they ask and settle your alleged debt with CRA. This is all too common. These fraudsters use fear to motivate people to act quickly. Now, there are occasions where CRA may actually call you, but there would never be a case where they will threaten you or claim the RCMP will be involved. If you do get a call from CRA, do not give your personal information to the caller. Request their name, office location, and phone number. You can then visit the CRA website to verify the phone number or call the CRA line directly to confirm the request is valid. The last scam I want to discuss is called the grandparent scam. In this scenario, someone will call and pretend to be your grandchild, stating that something bad has happened, like they're in the hospital or in jail, and need your help as soon as possible. The call will start off slightly muffled, so you may not be able to pick up the name. They may say, "Hi, Grandma, it's," followed by a slightly muffled response. When you ask to say, "Who is this?" they'll muffle the call a second time. "Grandma, it's..." The intent here is to get you to say the name of who you think it is. Once you respond with, "Oh, is this James?" the response will be, "Yes, it's James." The person will then start a regular conversation and may even ask how you've been or maybe how your weekend was. The intent is to fish information from you and repeat it back to you, as if the information you're giving them are points that they already know and understand about you. At some point, once trust has been established and you believe this is your grandchild, they will say they're in a situation that is urgent and that they need your help as soon as possible. At this point, they may say they're in jail and need bail. Perhaps they are traveling and lost their wallet, or maybe even in a hospital. They'll also likely ask you to keep it secret so that their parents don't find out. Whatever they ask, the intent is the same. They want to create urgency and ask for money. As I mentioned in the beginning, the 3 examples I chatted about today may be attempted as a text message or an email as well, not just only a phone call. Now, the fact is that there are endless scams and frauds out there, and the 3 that I outlined only brush the surface. And I didn't even discuss attempts to steal identity as well. There are so many different scam and fraud schemes out there that CRA actually has an index of over 70 scams, many of which can be presented to potential victims in a number of different scenarios. For the complex index list, check out the link in the description. With all the scams that are out there, it's hard to know what or who you can trust. That said, there are 2 common traits of a scam or fraud attempt that these people use. And if you can pick up on these common traits, you can protect yourself. The first commonality is that they target your emotions, whether it be fear or greed. These scammers use basic human psychology targeted at your emotional processes. This can leave you susceptible to making a decision you normally would give a second thought. Next, they create urgency to block rational thinking and stop you from taking the time to think through your decision, again, forcing you to make an emotional choice. And when you think of it, it's really no different than the way consumers are marketed to on a daily basis to buy stuff. Create an emotional reaction and a sense of urgency. At the end of the day, we all need to be vigilant because the fact is scammers and fraudsters, like potholes in Saskatchewan, are an inevitable part of life. Okay, so that'll do it for today. Here are your action items for today's episode. First off, talk to your friends and family about scams and fraud attempts that they have experienced. This will help to build up your knowledge and prepare for the day that one of these attempts comes your way. Next, when it comes to investment scams, if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. And lastly, find a trusted contact person you can share information with and get a second opinion. Whether this person is a friend, family member, or trusted advisor. Getting their opinion on a situation or offer can add another safeguard to help protect you from being scammed. Alright, so that'll do it for today's episode. Be sure to add us on all of our socials, LinkedIn and Facebook. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app. Be sure that you're signed up for the weekly Retiring Canada newsletter. And hey, when it comes to your retirement, don't take chances. Make a plan so you can retire with confidence.
All comments are of a general nature and should not be relied upon as individual advice. The views and opinions expressed in this commentary may not necessarily reflect those of Harbourfront Wealth Management. While every attempt is made to ensure accuracy, facts and figures are not guaranteed. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing or tax advice. Please seek advice from your accountant regarding anything raised in the content of the podcast regarding your individual tax situation. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.